Welcome to the AIP channel where anything is possible. And tonight we're going to do our special segment of Between the Rounds, where we're going to talk MMA and the upcoming fights with the Moose,
Going on, guys?
future Hall of Fame commentator, uh, an MMA fighter. But so it's going to be fun. We're going to try this out and see how this goes. Yeah.
Well, first things first, Ricky. It is Saturday, December 16th. That means tonight is UFC 296. So I feel like that's the first topic of discussion that we have to talk about. Pretty good
No
fights
doubt.
going on tonight. Two title fights.
Plus Thug Nasty,
Plus
Arkansas's own.
Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, I've trained with him before. I've trained with his coach, so it's I always going to root for him, no matter who he's going against. It's going to be a tough fight for him, but it's gotta love Thug.
Well, right now I do have the card pulled up. So we have on the main card Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. We have Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. We have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. We have Alejandro Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. And the main event, Leon Rocky Edwards versus Colby Chaos Covington.
It's going to be some good ones. I think potentially a couple retirement fights. What do you think?
I think if Ferguson loses or wins, no matter what, I feel like this has got to be it. And I was asking myself the same question about Wonderboy. If he does lose to Shavkat, does he retire? I don't really know. I really don't, because if I'm being honest with you, yeah, he's 41 and he hasn't been so active. It's been 300 something days since he fought last when he fought Holland, but he's still in great shape. He still looks sharp in the octagon. He's just fighting tough guys.
Yeah, I heard him say though. I mean, he wants another shot at the title, and I believe this loss here will push him back where you know there's no chance. You know, and if there's no chance of him getting a title shot or getting a title, then I don't see his drive to keep fighting, performing. That's going to be, like I said, no doubt he can still whoop, half the division, no doubt whatsoever. I mean, I know he hates to hear the thing, but he has been kind of a gatekeeper, and he's still a bad man. But I
Well,
see if he does lose, he'll retire because he'll lose that drive.
well, if you look at his last three fights, his last three opponents are Belal Muhammad, Gilbert Durinho Burns, and Kevin Holland. Those are all tough guys. I mean, Belal and Gilbert are both really high up in the rankings at 170. And, he is fighting one of the best prospects at that weight class. And he's talking about, how he wants another title fight. He is fighting in, to me, one of the toughest divisions in the UFC. Because if you
I
look at
agree.
the entire top 15 is just all really tough guys. I mean, you have Leon at champ, you have Usman 1, Muhammad 2, Covington 3, Burns 4, Rakhmonov 5, Wonderboy at 6. I mean, all these guys are really good, and you have young prospects, and I don't know. I don't think he retires, but I do think it sets him back. If he loses this one and maybe loses another one, like they may try to rebook him and Michael Chesnia, I don't see him going much farther. I think he will eventually pull a DC. DC retired because he wasn't contending for the belt. So
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, Belair is going to, he's got the next title shot most likely. He's the backup for this fight, and what he said, he's got the next shot. We'll see how that all plays out, and you never know with this world, MMA world, because crazier stuff happen, crazier fights happen. I mean, God forbid it's even a draw. I mean, that stuff happens. crazy stuff happens. So, but
Well, I
it should be a good fight for him. Hopefully, if he can use his kickboxing, keep his range, and keep away. But if he
he's
lets him get
just
inside and just gets gritty and dirty, I don't. Uh, I think it's Wonder Boy have a hard day.
well. See, the main thing is though is he's fighting one of the top prospects. Shavkat's 17-0, 100% finish rate. Nobody's like that in the UFC. But I don't know if you heard. Um, to train for this fight, Shavkat skipped his sister's wedding. So when you talk about that kind of determination, this guy really wants to fight. This guy's one of the best. We haven't seen him since May. He was on that John Jones card, but I don't know if I see him losing this fight. I really think Shavkat's gonna put himself up there as one of the top guys. And I did see a thing that was talking about let's get Shavkat versus Belail. When um, Gary had to drop out because he got really sick and got the pneumonia or whatever they were talking about. I know Chael Sonnen said this. He said, "Let's put Shavkat versus Belail because Belail is making weight because he was the backup, and then put Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Vince Luque," which I think that would have been a good to keep Vince on the card. I know Vince was upset that he wasn't fighting. There was even talks about Kevin Holland coming in and then fighting at catchweight 180. I guess Dana just didn't want to get that done. I don't know. But
That's a lot of moving parts. So I mean, it is possible, but there's a lot of moving parts, and would a Wonder Boy accept that fight? Who would everybody accept the fights? It's
well,
a
I mean
lot of
we've seen changes like that before because at what UFC 290 or 279 when Hamzat missed weight by so much, they changed that whole card around because he was supposed to fight Diaz and then Diaz ended up fighting Ferguson and Hamzat fought I think Kevin Holland. So I mean, you never know. We could have gotten the change, but I guess maybe we rebook Vince Luque. I know the UFC 297 card isn't fully complete. Um, Maybe rebook them for a fight night. Get Gary back up there. Because I know he needs to prove the haters wrong because he's getting a lot of shit for his wife, but he really needs to get in there and show everybody he's still a top contender.
yeah. I mean, it's sad. That's the thing he's known for right now. I mean, everybody forgetting his fighting is all about his wife and her past, and uh, he does need to get out there and put it on a dominating for spectacular on whoever he fights, so people go back to talking about his fighting, not all the extra crap.
But with that, I think I'm gonna give my official 296 picks. I have for Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. I know it's short notice. I think Emmett was supposed to fight Giga. Um, but I do have Bryce Mitchell in that fight. I think he's gonna just get back to his winning ways, keep winning, and continue on and beat Emmett. Tony Ferguson versus Patty Pimblett. Unfortunately, I think Patty's gonna win. I did find this out the other day. I didn't know that Patty Pimblett is a second-degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. I did just find that out. He actually just got his second degree not too long ago, training for Tony Ferguson because they do a thing at his
Nice.
gym called it's called it's like a Royal Rumble, but like jujitsu style, where they have like a bunch of guys in there. You should go see the video. It was on Patty's
Hmm.
channel. They had like 100 guys, and everybody started to roll. And it was like as soon as your opponent tapped, somebody could come right after you. Y'all would instantly start rolling until there was one, and he ended up winning the whole thing. And so they gave him his second degree black belt for it. So I think Patty wins. I think Bryce wins. I do think Shavkat wins by whichever way he wants. I think he will finish Wonder Boy. I think he is one of the best finishers in the game, so I do think he will do that. To me, the co-main Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Royval is the hardest fight to pick. A lot of people are talking about, Pantoja shouldn't be the champion and it should still be Moreno because he broke his hand or whatever. They're talking about how Royval could knock him out. I think it either goes the distance with Pantoja winning or Royval will finish him. But I do think the former. I am going to take Pantoja. And then in the main event, I've seen a lot of people picking Colby Covington, and maybe I would have agreed after, before Thursday night, because I think what Colby said about Leon's dad was way uncalled for, and I think that just made it so much more personal for Leon, and I think he's going to knock him out. I do. I think he's going to crush Colby. They are talking about Colby's stamina, but, stamina is all fine until you get kicked in the head.
Yeah.
So that's my picks. I got Mitchell, Pimplet, Rachmanov, Pantoja, and Edwards.
It's pretty close to mine. Of course, like we said at the beginning, I'm running with Thug Nasty for. I mean, I remember when he first started fighting. I was here, in Minglewood Hall. I seen him. Yeah, I had to find a video. I'll show it to you. It was him after his fight interview. Probably was like his second or third fight, and he was all. And the guy asked him, "Why they call you Thug Nasty?" And he was like, "Because I'm a thug up in these streets." It was absolutely hilarious, man. He's a good guy. He's down to earth. I mean, he's everybody. There's a lot of people talk crap about him but he's down and out. He's a good dude. Running with Thug. Yeah, I hate it. I think I don't know. I mean, you never know in that fight with Ferguson and Pimblett because Ferguson. I mean, like his last fight, he was looking good until he wasn't. I mean, he could catch him, but it probably, I hate to say it, but I probably will be Pimblett on him. I agree. And on the Thompson fight, I see him losing. I mean, he's minus 600 on
Yeah,
going against him.
is
Like,
a minus
yeah,
favorite.
yeah. Shuffle hits quite a bit just on that part. I mean, it is a fight. Anything can happen, but I see him dominate him and retire him. I see Thompson and Ferguson retiring tonight. That's my thing. Royval, I think gets that one. I think he becomes, and I don't know. I'm one of the ones. I think kind of Kobe might have this one. I really do. I know he talks a lot of shit, and that's just part of his game. And he wants to get in your head. I mean, sometimes it works. You can see. I'm brain farting as always. Jose Aldo fight. When he fought. Man, I hate being old. When he lost the belt. Come on, Moose, help me out. Yeah, Conor McGregor. And how can I forget Conor? Yeah, I mean, he got in his head. I mean, he truly got in his head. He was uncharacteristic and rushed in and got caught. And that's the thing. You got to keep a cool head, even though like somebody says something really bad or whatever. I mean, you want to put it on them, but you got to have a control on it. So, matters how far it pushes them. Well, it could be great for him. It could be terrible for him. But I think Kobe with his gas tank, and I see him winning.
Well, if you do the
MMA, smash,
if you do the MMA math, Leon beat Usman twice. The first time, yeah, he was losing the fight. He did get a catchy flash KO. That is not the cloth from which he is cut. But I think the second time they fought, maybe it was a dejected Usman, but Edwards still beat him in good fashion, defending the belt. And, Usman's a guy who beat Colby not once, but twice in, dominant fashion both times. So if you do the MMA map, Edwards is better than Covington. And Covington, he's got a little rustiness, you know. I mean, I think Edwards has fought twice in the last year, and Covington hasn't been in the octagon in 651 days. So I think that's a tougher thing to talk about is, you know, yeah, Colby, he's still got trash talk, but, you know, is he still going to be ready to step in there and try to go for the belt? I do think Edwards gets it, though. I think, you know, I think, yeah, he's gonna channel what Colby said, but he's not gonna let it get the best of him. He's still gonna do what he's good at. He's good under pressure, you know, and I think he's gonna beat him. It's gonna motivate him, and he's gonna beat him and defend, and then move on to probably Belal.
Most likely. I mean, it's possible, no doubt. You know, but I'll say MMA math never adds up, though.
That
I
is true.
seen years ago they had a meme and they did MMA math, and according to MMA math, Mighty Mouse was the heavyweight champion of the world because he went down the line, everybody beat this person, that beat this person, and it's one of them things you never know. Like I said, Usman on that second fight, I see he was in his head. He wasn't the same Usman. He's timid. He was cautious of he didn't want to get knocked out again, so he was really cautious on it. So that wasn't the same Usman fighting. So and now Usman 0-3 for the last 3 fights.
Yeah, he lost to Edwards twice, and then he did lose to Hamzat. That was a split decision. I do think, you know, I mean, Hamzat did break his hand in the first round after one of them takedowns. So that's why he looked a little more standoffish in rounds 2 and 3. And speaking of Hamzat Chimaev, I don't know if you heard, him and Robert Whitaker are in the works for UFC 299 in March.
I did see that. I knew it was another one I was thinking about. I seen that popped up. I think I seen it on Twitter or X. But yeah, I did see that. So I mean, that's gonna be a hell of a fight right there because Robert Whitaker's no slouch. He's
coming off of a loss to Dricus du Plessis, so he's going to try to get it back. And then I think Hamzat still wants to prove that he is a top contender. I do think the winner of that fight will face the winner of Strickland versus du Plessis. I think that is the fight to make because, you know, Dana was saying that the winner of Usman Chimaev was going to get a title shot. But granted, you know, a lot of people were saying that maybe Chimaev needs to fight one more, you know, fight an actual 185er. And he will. You know, former champ Robert Whitaker is going to be a tough test for him. And I'm a Chimaev fan. Y'all all know that. So I'm going to hope he gets it done. But I do like Robert Whitaker too. So, I mean, either way, it's a win-win for me on that fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a great fight no matter what. Who comes out with the hand raised. The fans win with that fight for sure.
Well, speaking of upcoming fights, so, you know, this is our last UFC event for close to a month. You know, we don't see another UFC card until January 13th of next year, which has the rematch between Magomed Ankalaev versus Johnny Walker. You know, the fight that got a controversial stopping on back in October. So, yeah, it was October. It was October, right?
I think so. I was going to say,
think,
don't
yeah,
give me lies.
It was my birthday. It was the same fight as Makhachev versus Volk. So we do have that. You know, we really don't know there. I think it was a very close fight before it did get stopped. I think both of them were doing something. You know, Walker threw that knee, you know, the shutter knee that he likes to throw, where he shells up and explodes off of it. And I do think he was getting pressured before he got hit with an illegal knee. I don't think that fight should have been stopped. If you look back at it, the question that was asked is, "Where are you?" You know, and of course they were in Abu Dhabi. I think Johnny Walker said the desert, and the doctor decided to stop it off that. I mean, but that's one of the big things is asking where are you with the language barrier. You know, you're asking a guy from Brazil where he's at with an American doctor. So I don't know, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe that shouldn't have gotten stopped. Maybe it should have. Who knows? Another guy fighting on that card is a guy I like, Manel Cape. He fought not too long ago, and he's fighting Matthias Nicola, and I think he maybe hopefully gets that one done. I do like Manel Cape. I hope he becomes a good contender at 125. So I am excited to see that. And Andre Arlovsky, the old man heavyweight, he's back in action versus Aldo
The
Cortez.
pit bull, baby. He just keeps getting better. It keeps like he has a little streak of losses, and then he comes back and starts knocking heads off again. It's incredible. Early one of the first UFC champions, and he's still in the game fighting. It's amazing that pretty how long he's been fighting and fighting at a top level.
Yeah, it's like he is the oldest active guy on the roster. It's like him and Wonder Boy and Clay, I think Goudier are
Clay
all
Guda.
are all the old men, all the elders. And then you move on to January 20th. We have UFC 297, Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis. An interesting thing about that fight is they had the regional, like the seasonal press conference last night with I know O'Malley and Cheeto were there, Volk and Taporia were there, and then Strickland and du Plessis were there. They did face-offs after the paper, like after the actual press conference. And one of the things is if you ever look at Sean Strickland face-offs, he's always laughing, smiling, joking, looking at the camera, messing with his opponent. He's done it in every fight. He even did it with Adesanya. He was looking angry. Like, he looked like he wanted to kill Dricus du Plessis. I know Dricus did hit a nerve talking about, Sean's dad, because I do think there is some stories that Sean's dad did some probably not okay things to Sean. But he was locked in. He definitely looked like he's ready to get the job done with du Plessis. And that's a tough waiting all the way for a month for that one. We also have Raquel Pennington versus Maria Bueno Silva for, I think, the women's bantamweight title. And then we have Neil Magny versus Mike Mallet, Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic. I think we were supposed to get that fight not too long ago. Actually, at this pay-per-view, I think we were supposed to have that one, and it got moved because I think Jan had a little minor injury that he had to take care of. Dominic Reyes is also on that card. Brad Katona, the Ultimate Fighter winner from this year. Charles Jourdain, it's a pretty good card coming up. It's some good names. Arnold Allen are fighting, so that'll be an interesting one at 297.
Yes, they're not stopping with this one. They got some real. It's amazing the talent and everything and all how solid the cards are, how loaded they are. You would think it's like who they're going to have on 300 because of how great the other these other cards are going to be.
See, I don't even know because the big thing is Conor is obviously speculated him and Michael Chandler's the number one fight probably to make there. But after that, you really don't have many guys who can put their belt on the line. I mean, maybe Pereira can do that, but we have a flyweight championship tonight. We have a bantamweight championship in March. We have featherweight in February. We just had lightweight, but Islam can't fight at UFC 300. He can't because of Ramadan. That's why he's trying to fight at UFC 299 on March 9th because that is the day before Ramadan. So he's trying to fight, I think, Justin Gaethje because Islam has said he's not interested in rematches. He doesn't, want rematches, which is understood because, you look at the big talk is like you look at Usman's legacy. back then, he beat Colby Covington, Masvidal, Burns. No, he didn't beat Masvidal. Did he fight Masvidal?
Yeah, Usman did. Knocked him out.
Well, I think it was like, the thing is, he had 5 title defenses, and 3 of them, it was like the 3 same dudes. So you understand, Islam doesn't, like, he's not interested in a rematch with Arman Suzukian. He's not interested in an Oliveira rematch. He's wanting to keep knocking guys down at 155, and so he wants Gaethje. I think that's an interesting fight to make. If there's anybody to beat Islam, it would be Gaethje. So they're talking about that for March, just because he wants to fight before Ramadan. But back to the thing is, like, we have flyweight, we have bantamweight, feather, light, welterweight tonight. Middleweight is in January. And so, like, that's really the only guys that can defend is light heavyweight. Alex Pereira will be the only one ready and able to go for UFC 300 because, John Jones is, of course, hurt. He won't be cleared by April because of the pec tear.
Well, you got the interim title. I mean, he could defend it again.
Well, I think I had, under the possible fights, I did have Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. So it would be interesting to see that one, I think. And then, of course, you can do Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko 3. Which, I mean, granted, it's women's MMA, but it's an exciting fight. It's still a good fight. I do think Shevchenko should be the champion right now. I know they did a draw, but I think it was something about a ref scored one round 10-8 when it shouldn't have been a 10-8 or something like that.
It was a weird. I think I actually watched that card, and yeah, it was. I don't know what the judge. That one judge, sometimes you wonder.
It was Mexican Independence Day because I know Raul Rosas fought and she fought, and it was a good. It was a good for like for a fight night. It was a really good card. But moving on, in February we got some good fights. There's a fight night, UFC Vegas 86 with Jack Hermanson versus Joe Pfeiffer. And then you move on to UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria, Tatiana Suarez versus Amanda Lemos, 2 top contenders at, I think that's women's flyweight or straightweight. I think it's straightweight. Whatever weight class Weili's the champion of, because I know Lemos just fought Weili. You have Cejudo versus Merab, and then you have Tai Tuivasa versus Marcin Tybura. That was just announced not too long ago. So, I mean, that's another good card. And, of course, in March, we have O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera. So, it'll be interesting to see how some of these fights play out. It'll be very interesting to see, who do they book for UFC 300? Because, like I was saying, I mean, we have Weili could defend. I guess she hasn't fought in a minute. We do have Alex Pereira. We have Alexa Grasso. But when it comes to, men's MMA, there's not many guys who are going to be open to defend their belt.
That's true. I mean, everybody's been speculating. I could see them trying to bring in some older stars, just kind of fill it in. Maybe talk some guys in, somebody that still can go.
Well, yeah, there was.
I believe potentially you could see Brock back. You could see Brock Lesnar back in there one more time. He hadn't been on UFC. I mean UFC. He hadn't been on WWE. So
that's what I was going to say. We haven't
never seen anything.
Brock. That's what I was going to say. Is we haven't.
He could be getting ready.
But who would he fight though?
I mean, that'd be the thing. You don't want to put him against really somebody up and knock him. If he wins, he's not going nowhere with it. I mean, if he hurts one of the younger guys coming up, I don't know. I mean, he had to put him in an interesting fight, though. You could put Let me look at the list here.
I have a name in my head, and I'm wondering if you're thinking the same thing.
This my brain is let's see. That ain't what I want. Let's see. Heavy. Where's your heavies at? Wait.
I've got a name in my head right now that I think would be an interesting matchup.
I hope they would do it to him. I mean, you could do for just you could do. I don't know, and it wouldn't hurt him really. Even if he took a loss, I don't think it'd be Derek Lewis. That'd be interesting.
That's the exact name I had. Is I think Derek Lewis coming off that loss to Jalaton Almeida, where he got sat on for 25 minutes straight. You need to.
Yeah, but Brock's coming to wrestle. Be having another one
Because I mean, Brock, yeah, he is a wrestler, NCAA Division I champ at Minnesota, but he does have some power. Like I know he was knocking some guys out in his short little stint to become champ.
Oh yeah. If you watch him, when he hit Crazy Horse, knocked him across the whole freaking ring. In his first fight in the UFC, he, man, what was his name? I can picture it in my head. It was absolutely crazy. And then he rushed over there. He was beating Mir the first time, and he just got caught. The referee stood him up, and then when they re-engaged, he went and caught him and caught his foot.
Well, two other fights that have been speculated is, of course, Georges St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz has been in talks. Because, if you look at both of them, both those guys are still in amazing shape.
Oh, yeah.
He still takes very good care of his body. Nick Diaz kind of let himself go, but here recently he's shredded right now. So you got those two guys.
He's getting ready for something.
And then another conversation has been Ronda Rousey versus Miesha Tate.
Which is possible because she's not under WWE contract anymore.
She's been fighting.
She's in the Indies. She's been in the Indies and stuff, going around wrestling in the Indies, but just having fun. But yeah, she could be getting ready. Who knows? I mean, she could try to come back and make another. She could even make another run for it. Like Miesha Tate's trying to.
She's not. I know Ronda's not very old. Like I know she's still got. She's 36. I mean, we see, women still making huge impacts older, like I know Shevchenko's up there in some age, and I know, of course, Cyborg at Bellator still, she's like 40 something.
I don't think Cyborg was that old. Everybody thinks she's that old. That's gonna sound good. I don't think Cyborg's that old.
I'm looking it up.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I was doing
She's
the same.
38.
Yeah,
she's 38.
She's 38. I knew she wasn't in her 40s. Yeah, she was in her early 30s when she fought UFC. Like I said, she's been fighting for so long. She's had so many fights. A lot of people thought she was a lot older than she was.
Another guy who was recently entered back into USADA. I don't want to mess up his name. Let me make sure.
What's going to go on with that with the USADA and UFC next year not having
Well, they changed organizations. UFC, new anti-doping company. Drug-free sports something. It's
No.
DFISI.
Okay. I mean, they're doing the same thing. They're just not doing it with USADA.
Well, a lot of it was, Dana protects his top guy, and what USADA apparently was doing to Conor McGregor wasn't right, and so he's going to protect his top guy. So,
Well, I mean, they would show up. They'll show up at your. They would show up at your house or anywhere. You're at the gym. Hell, you're in the bathroom taking a number two, and they'll show up and say, "Hey, give me a test." And then they yank blood out of you. It's pretty, and then the bad thing I didn't like about it. I mean, I like the testing. Don't get me wrong; they need to be tested, everybody, but it needs to be across the board even. Like there's certain people who gets tested 10 times more than other people. I mean,
I remember.
why are they testing them so much more, than these other people? There's something that ain't right there.
I know one story was, they went to Demetrius Johnson's house to test him, and he was in the middle of streaming. He was like playing a game or something, like a video game. And he had USADA sit there for 45 minutes while he finished what he was doing in that game before he went and gave him a test.
So, I mean, like, what he wasn't running or nothing.
I think he was playing he was doing something. I want to say like League of Legends or something. He was like raiding a tomb or something like that. And he was like, "You're gonna wait. I'm gonna finish this before I get up."
I heard Wanderlei Silva, he hit underneath the cage.
Well, the guy I was thinking of, that re-entered USADA, he said he doesn't know if he's going to fight again, but he wants to have the option. It's Paul Felder.
Oh yeah. I did hear about that. Yeah, he didn't say he just wants to keep his options open. I mean, he's a great, color commentary and stuff, and commentator. I guess you ain't gonna say color comment. Always talking like wrestling talk, but do what?
Is Rogan going to be on the mic tonight?
I imagine. I hadn't heard.
Because I know his big thing is he only does big events inside the U.S. Like he doesn't travel with the UFC anymore. But like if it's in the U.S., he'll make it.
I mean, it's in Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah, they're in Vegas, so I would imagine.
Yeah, you'll have Joe there tonight. Then I haven't seen anything that he's not doing it, but if not, he'll be doing his
JRE.
all his buddies. Yeah, have all his buddies there, getting drunk and talking shit. Eddie Bravo spreading truth.
Joey Diaz.
That man's crazy.
I still think one of the best episodes of JRE is when he was on there with Yoel Romero and Joey Diaz was translating. I don't know if you ever saw that, but
I never seen that one. I had to look that one up.
yeah, it's he had Yoel Romero on there. God, I love me some Yoel Romero. I wish we could have seen him in the UFC when he was younger.
Oh yeah, I mean, you was talking about 36. How that's when he come into UFC. Was 36.
Yeah, he's 46 right now and one of the top contenders in Bellator.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature, of in shape. I wish I'm 44. I wish I was in the shape that Yo Romero. Good God.
I mean, you talk about a different breed, because he does, he doesn't weightlift. He doesn't lift weights. It's all body exercise that he's in that shape. And, talk about how he had that fight and they were in Australia or whatever, and they sent him to the doctor after he broke his orbital. And the doctor calls UFC, like, "Where'd you find this guy?" And it was like, what do you mean? Oh, he's great, right? No, you don't understand. His orbital tendons are 3 times stronger. They're already healing themselves. It's like his tendons are 3 times stronger than the average male. Like like it was already healing itself not even 3 days later.
Joe Romero's a mutant. He's a fucking X-Man.
He's truly the soldier of God, that's for sure.
That's
He's
wild.
one of those guys that takes nickname to heart. Another guy who's fighting tonight, Cody Garbrandt.
Oh, yes, forgot about an undercard. Yeah, we got Cody. I had it pulled up here, and I took it off. I was looking at the undercard earlier. There it is. Oops. Too far, Ricky.
Yeah, Irene Aldana's fighting. Casey O'Neill, who's on a 3-4 fight win streak.
Andre Philly.
Yeah, Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Kelleher.
Casey O'Neill, she's no slouch either. On the flyweight belt, excuse me. Yeah, I wonder. Hopefully, Cody can get back in that win, stringing some wins together, or something like that. But I don't know.
Well, he won his last fight against Trevin Jones at UFC 285.
That's what I'm saying. Get him some more than one. Get him a couple of them there together, and maybe get his confidence back up.
What I want to see is you. You remember what he did to Dominic Cruz? How he just outclassed Dominic Cruz for 5 rounds.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. I watched that fight live. It was like holy shit.
I want to see Leon Edwards do that to Colby Covington tonight. That's what I want to see. That's
a whole different style fight, but yeah, but yeah, he mimicked the Dominator. Cody really did. It was incredible. But you could see it with Kobe tonight. It's possible, but I still say Kobe's gonna pressure. He's gonna shoot. He's gonna whoop. There he goes.
Well, the thing is we're acting like Leon doesn't know what Colby's going to try to do. We're acting like Leon hasn't been working on takedown defense, like he hasn't been working on a pressure fight. We know he's training. We know he.
No doubt. I'm not. I never say he's not.
I mean, he does have one of the longest active win streaks in the UFC right now.
Yeah, but he don't fight that often either.
Yeah,
it's easy to have an active fighting streak is when you don't fight. He has one of the weakest, consistency of fighting. Like I said, he's fought twice in the last 2 years, 3 years.
It was like 11 fights in 8 years or something like that. Like he fought, March 18th, 2023, August 20th, 2022, June 12th, 2021, March 13th, 21, July of 2019, March of 2019, June of 2018. So huge gaps. But, he has some impressive wins. Vince Luque, Donald Cerrone, Rafael dos Anjos, a no contest with Belal Muhammad, Nate Diaz, and 2 wins over Kamaru Usman. Hasn't lost since he lost to Usman back in 2015. But it'll be interesting. I can't hear you, Rick.
There we go. I hit the button. My bad. Yeah, that's what I did the other day. I was messing with this mic. I just got this brand new mic, and I'm learning how to use it. I was trying to get my little lights to come back on. I guess I muted myself. But yeah, he had Nate Diaz should have won that fight though. The one he had Nate had him rocked. and Nate was just being Nate and pointing at him and laughing at him. He should have went in there and finished him. He fought a couple lightweights that came up to 70. And there's no, I'm not taking nothing against Leon. He's a bad man. I don't want to meet him, in a cage and fight him or nothing like that. But he no doubt he's training and ready for that pressure. But that's, if you watch Colby, everybody knows that's what he wants to do. He wants to smash and pressure you and drag you into the deep, dark pits of hell. And that's what makes him so good is what's going to come. He knows what he wants, and he's still doing it. That's the definition of a great fighter from a good fighter. You know what they're going to do. They're going to try to do. You know exactly what their game plan is, and they come in and do it, and there's nothing you can do. You see that happen all the time. People come in, go against a high level wrestler. Hey, you can train all you want to on takedown defense and everything, and they still get it there, make that shot, and take them down. It's freaky.
I don't know. I just really, it's not that like I'm not like a huge Leon supporter. It's just it's really hard for me to back Colby Covington after just like his comments. It's just
What did he say? I missed it. I did not hear him. I heard you talking about it. He at the gym, and I just did not hear. I meant to look it up. I didn't hear what he said.
So he said, Leon, Saturday night I'm gonna take you to the seventh layer of hell, and we'll say what's up to your dad while we're there. Leon Edwards' father was murdered when he was 13.
Oh shit! Yeah, I didn't hear that one. I heard him talking crap about Ian's wife and all that, but I didn't see that video.
Yeah, he said something about Ian's wife. He called Wonder Boy a pedophile.
The hell.
Yeah, he was just, and it's like he turned the entire UFC roster against him in one night. Because like I was looking at an article preparing for this, and it said like UFC is like the UFC roster is completely backing Leon Edwards tonight. And it's just like he was just, and he was slurring words. Like I don't know if he was intoxicated or what. Like he just wasn't talking right. And then of course after he said that about Leon's dad, I think Leon threw a water bottle at him, and they had like an intense face off after that. So
I seen that on the weigh-ins. They had to keep them separated, and of course Kofi's all in it, all dressed up.
Yeah, as George Washington or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. It's just really hard, to back Colby after that one. I mean, I've never really been the biggest fan of his, but after that, it really kind of depletes anything I would have going for him. Normally you root for the American, but in this one, I don't know.
I mean, you gotta root for who you like. I mean, and then yeah, you gotta root for who you like. I mean, I grew up. You root for, Olympics. You're gonna go for American, of course, and all that. But as UFC and all the fights and stuff like that, I've always just rooted for who I like. It's of course I was chanting USA when like Dan Henderson versus Bisping. Now that was my all-time favorite knockout, one of the greatest knockouts of all time. But I was yelling USA on that one. I used to carry it around the video. I download the video, and I used to carry around my phone and show people, like, look at this.
And it was like, I don't know, him and Tony Ferguson were going after it for a second, and then all of a sudden they're chanting America and become best friends. So it's really like I don't know. Colby's an interesting cat, but in
he,
the end,
he
I think
it's all for the money. It's a lot of it's a show just to get everybody's thoughts.
well, I mean, what some people were
Just like
saying was,
Connor. It's just like Connor. Connor's there. He says all what he says to get everybody hyped up, and
but
uh,
I think Connor's a prime example of what a trash talker should be. Because Connor's going to talk his trash. He's going to get in your head, but he's never going to go too far, you know? He doesn't, I don't know if there's ever a time where he's touched some water that he doesn't need to be in, you know?
I know he attacked a bus. I know that, and
Well, I mean, that's not really trash talk. That was, that was, that was different. And there was a story about, like,
he was he went ape shit for a little bit there, man.
well, apparently, about
And then
that,
he had to beg uh beg whatchamacallit to get off of him. He basically said, "Man, I was just playing."
well, I think the thing was with that was whole that was Habib and Connor was a
Yeah,
different.
Habib. Yeah, I'm so bad with names. I don't care if I've said them 1,000 times. Yeah, that whole fight, all that stuff, and the bus, and then they get in the fight, and they say that Connor was talking to him in the cage and was like, "Man, I was just playing. I was just playing." And Habib was just beating his head in.
Well, when he attacked the bus, apparently I don't know if it's like Habib's team or whatever. I like did
There was a
something.
lot of people in there. It wasn't just Habib's team. His team was in there, but like Thug Rose was in there, and uh, see who
Well,
else. It
no.
was quite a few other. I mean, it almost cost the card because like somebody could have got hurt, and
Well, the thing was is like what I'm trying to say is McGregor attacked the bus because a member or multiple members of Habib's team did something or said something to like Connor's best friend or whatever, messed with him. And so his best friend calls Connor, like, hey, they did this. And so Connor just attacked the bus, you
yeah,
know, because it's like, you mess with his best friend, it's like messing with your brother, you know.
yeah. I mean, I understand, but yeah, it was a shit show for sure because they
And then, I mean, even then, like, yeah, you talk about he attacked the bus, that was pretty bad. But then, you have Habib's team jump the cage and like Habib jumped the cage going after Dylan Dennis, and Habib's team jumped the cage and sucker punched Connor.
yeah, it was. Yeah, like I said, it was a shit show. That whole thing, it was wrongs on both sides, no doubt. Uh, yeah, it shouldn't have never escalated to that point, but I mean, it happens. Um, I've been at a, I've been at an MMA event. I got carried out of that sun gun. I had the guys on each arm of me trying to get me to put my arms behind my back, and I just S grip, and they pick me up and carry me out like this. They're like, "Put your arm behind your back." I said, "Fuck you, I ain't doing it." I said, you ain't." I said, "I'll walk out, but I ain't put my arm behind my back." And they carried me over to the side and about to jump me. And then my friend of mine's Mike showed up, and they realized it was 2-on-2, and then they started stuttering and told him to get me out of there. I'm like, it was absolutely. I've been a part of a shit show before and all kinds of drama and stuff. So I don't like it. I like how we have our stuff, and I like having a good time, and I don't like all the BS. But I've been there. Like, so we ain't never attacked a bus or nothing, but
You didn't throw
it turned into a whole shit show, and there was a uh, damn half-ass riot at the fights.
you've never thrown
They had brought in extra security just because of the beef and the heat, and it was good times though, good memories.
you never threw a dolly at a bus window?
No, no. A friend of mine, he threw a water bottle at somebody. This one dude put his hands on my coat, so I reached and tried to grab him. And then this big old 8-foot security guy started pushing me. And they stopped everything for about 2 seconds, and they told him to get me out of there. I'm like, why me? Everybody in here is pushing and grappling, and man, it was a shit show. Like I said, I don't even ancient past. Back when I really didn't care. But I don't like all that extra drama and stuff. I like being respectful and even win or lose, shake hands and go on your way.
Well, alrighty. I think we've hit our hour.
We have done an hour. I think we've done pretty well.
I think I'm gonna go get me some food. I'm pretty hungry. I haven't eaten today.
I ate
So,
breakfast today. Taco Felix had a big old spread.
oh, nice.
I couldn't eat it all.
Well, alrighty. We got interesting fights tonight. I think we've got a good episode of Between the Rounds, and I think this is episode 1.
I think the first one's in the books, and more fun to come once we have several other going to have be on here. We're going to have a whole panel of people. That's the goal. Just hey, it's the holidays and stuff happening, so once we get everybody in here, it's going to be even more. So appreciate everybody listening. Do the share, like, and all that good stuff, and spread the word. And we're going to make this thing grow and have fun. So appreciate you. I left this part out at the very end. I got to have it in there no matter what. And as always, keep on keeping on, and peace and chicken grease. Y'all be good.